So here was the question that I got. How does Tai Lopez read one book a day? Or does he read one book a day? I thought I'll answer this. Now, there are many people out there who actually believe in the bullshit that Tai Lopez or any of these people read one book a day. And I'll actually show you how they do it. Is it possible? I'll tell you how do you read one book a day and how does Tai Lopez make these claims. It's all about using simple logic, common sense, and reasoning. Okay? Let me give you an example. Now here, this is a book. Can you see? This is a book. The fonts are really big, and this book has around roughly how many pages? Maybe 50 pages. Okay, maybe 100 pages. And you can see this book. It's so big. The fonts are so big. So God is the force behind for creation. God is the name behind. God is our name for the force behind creation. So this 2 lines is 2 pages. That's what I believe. 4 pages. I believe in God, which I don't. 6 pages. So now I have read 6 pages in less than 1 second. So if you were to look at a book like this, you can finish this book in less than 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute, 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Okay. So if you were to evaluate reading a book like this, you can read these books like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8 books you can read in 1 day. 8 books in 1 day. Okay. Why do I say 8 books in 1 day? Because these books are small and it's very easy. See, this is 1 page. This is 1 page. So hardly around like 40 words in a page. Okay. So this is reading 1 book a day. But now let me ask you this. If you're talking of this is 1 book, this is also 1 book. You can see the size difference. Okay. And you saw the font in this, right? See, the font in this is 2 pages. The font in a book like this is this way. Okay. So there are maybe like 3,000, 4,000 words. Okay. So this is also 1 book. See the size difference? 1 book versus 1 book. And then this is also 1 book. You can see I need both hands. This is also 1 book. Now this one is even more smaller fonts. You can see how big this one is. Okay. This is roughly around 1,000 pages. You see the size difference? Okay. Now this is also 1 book. And if you want to go even more extreme, this is also 1 book. Okay, this is even more bigger. This is around, I don't know, maybe 2,000 pages. Okay, now, and this book's font size, let me just show you. You can see how small the fonts are. Okay, so what is the difference? Tell me, what is the difference between reading this book and reading this book? You can see the difference? So Tai Lopez, do you think Tai Lopez reads 1 book a day? When he was talking of reading 1 book a day, do you think he's reading a book like this in 1 day? Can anybody read this book in 1 day? Is it possible? Okay. The second question you need to ask yourself is, if he could read 1 book in a day, then this is the Holy Bible. This is the Holy Bible. Can he read this full book in a day? Okay. Next question you need to ask yourself is, are you reading a book for the sake of reading fast? Like, for example, once again, I'm giving you common sense. See, this is a book. Okay, this is another book. Now, in this book, I can do speed reading. See, like, for example, I just opened a page. What it says here is make learning a lifelong mission. Make learning a lifelong mission. Now, it's common sense. Make learning a lifelong mission. Do I need someone to elaborate and say, make learning a lifelong mission? Do I need someone to explain? No, I don't need someone to explain that. So I've actually read this 1 point. The summary here is, if you don't learn, you cannot change. And if you aren't changing, what's the point of being here? So I finished this whole chapter by reading just 2 lines. So then I go to the next one. Don't gossip. It says here, don't gossip. So do I need someone to give me an explanation on don't gossip? No. So am I reading a book fast by just reading the summaries, or am I reading word for word? So there are 2 styles of reading. One is just reading the headlines and the summary, skimming through. That's another way. Third one is reading line by line. The fourth one is reading to understand, which we do in school and college. And the last one is reading to apply, which is the slowest. So what do you think Tai Lopez does? Or what do you think these people who brag about, I read one book a day, what do they do? Are they reading to understand the book? Are they reading to brag about how fast they read it? Are they reading to, memorize, or are they reading to apply? If you are talking of just showing off, I can read, I'm not joking, I can read these books. These are small, tiny little books, okay? These books, I can read these 8 to 10 books in a day and brag and say, I read 10 books in a day. And the fonts in these books, see, look. You can see how large the fonts are, okay? And some of them, they're nothing but pictures, okay? So it's very easy to read books like these. So you can read a book like this and brag and say, I read 5,000 books, which Tai Lopez does brag and say, I've read more than 5,000 books. How much does he remember? How much does he apply? Do you seriously think Tai Lopez, okay, or anybody who brags, I read 500 books, okay. Do you think Tai Lopez would read a book like Gross Psychology, a book like this which has 1,000 pages? Do you think he could read it in one day? It's not possible. See, this is where you need to use common sense. Use common sense. Anyone can, I read one book a day. I read 5,000 books. How much do you actually apply out of the 5,000 books? And there is, if you're reading just to impress people, you can say 10,000 books. I get youngsters who say, I read 800 books. I read 50 books, last year. Or I read 50 books today. Fine. What's next? That is where one of the articles of mine, which was published in, I think, Business Insider. I'll put the link down below. Where I've asked people, fine, you have read this book. How have you changed? Has it increased your bank balance? Has it made you from being a guy who earns $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month? Fine, then fantastic. But if you're earning $1,000 a month and after reading 5,000 books, you're still earning the same, there's no change, then you are a professor, like an encyclopedia, where you read, memorize, it all stores in your brain, that's it. You're like Google. Or are you a person who reads to apply this in your life and change? I think we need to stop bullshitting ourselves and getting impressed by this nonsense. He read 5,000 books a day, he read one book a day. There should be a reason, there should be a purpose behind doing whatever you're doing. So please, next time someone tells you, I read one book a day, or I read 5,000 books, ask him the name of the books. Okay? And here's a better challenge. Make them sit in front of you and let them show you how they read. If Tai Lopez could read 5,000 books in 5,000 days, why hasn't he applied for a Guinness Book of World Record? Why doesn't he show it online? Online. In one day, read and show how you read a full book in one day. What do? Skim through the pages? There's a difference between reading a summary. There's a difference between skimming a book. There's a difference between reading an audiobook, listening to an audiobook. There's a difference between listening to a summary. Like, I can go for a 1-hour drive, subscribe to Blinkist. Blinkist sometimes gives 5-minute book review of an entire book in 5 minutes. So if I were to calculate in 1 hour, 5 minutes, I think I can finish, like, say 12 books. So does that mean technically I've read 12 books? Or just listen to the summary of 12 books? You need to use your common sense and ask yourself, if someone makes all these bullshit claims, what is the catch to it? Because today we live in a world where anyone can say, I read one book a day, 5,000 books, 10,000 books, or I read 50 books today. And be, wow, ooh, he's sold. So please use your common sense. The next time someone tells you, I read 5,000 books, 10,000 books, okay, then tell them, so what? What's next? How much money are you making? Minting? 1 million? A lot of people, a lot of guys from Kerala, South India, farmers and all that, they have not read a single book in their life. Not a single book. But they have millions because they work with their hands. I think we need to grow up from this nonsense that we listen online. and use common sense. So next time someone tells you, I read one book a day, give him a book like this, which has 1,000 pages. Tell him, read in front of me and show me. I'll give you $10,000. And if you do not finish reading word for word the entire book in one day, you have to give me $10,000. I can challenge you. Nobody would make that bet with you. Bye from Machedo.com. Who's Loy Machedo and Think Personal Branding? Answering this question. Reading a book a day, bullshit or real? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is me signing off for now. Take care.